the transition from being the savior at Ajax to being Andres Iniesta's replacement at FC Barcelona has been a smooth one for Dutch midfielder Frenkie de Jong. But I'm going to kind of get into what makes him one of the world's most elite football players, world's elite soccer players. If you're going to say soccer, it's a football. But with that, I'm going to start off by saying it is Monday, June 1st, 2020 here in this quarantine. I'm James Sims. And right now I'm just gonna get into what makes Frenkie de Jong like one of the world's most elite young players. And then like if you ever get a chance to watch soccer, and of course if you do watch soccer, you will watch FC Barcelona. Just give you a chance to understand what makes this kid incredibly special. So of course, Frenkie de Jong, he's from the Netherlands. He started his career, played for the youth team at Wilhelm II, where he would transfer to Ajax, which is best known for being kind of a league for young players to make names for themselves before they make it up to the league, before they make it up to a top tier level program, our top level team. Of course, alums or like Zlatan played at Ajax, and another young player who I mentioned earlier, Matthijs de Ligt, who is also Dutch, who is now the center back for Juventus at 20 years old. So of course, Frenkie de Jong was one of these players, and he was one of the few players that helped Ajax make it as far as they did. Of course, winning their Dutch league naturally, and he became the Dutch player of the league in 2018. But he would eventually lead them far into the UEFA Champions League Cup, where they would finish losing out in the semifinals. But after, of course, Frenkie de Jong would establish himself as the premier player, one of the premier players on that team, alongside Matthijs de Ligt, that helped get Ajax that far. And of course there are other players like Danny van de Beek and other just players that are more than likely going to transfer to higher level teams. So that's kind of the position that he was in Ajax, making a name for himself, of course, playing for the best organization in his home country of Netherlands. But after that summer, he was signed by FC Barcelona to be kind of the heir apparent to Andres Iniesta, the old midfielder who basically retired. And also, I guess he's serving in the role where he's gonna play alongside Ivan Rakitic, Artur, and Sergio Busquets, alongside one of the most stacked midfielders, or just stacked lineups overall in all of soccer, and that's FC Barcelona. Of course, they had the resources, they had the money to go out and get this kid, and of course, every single penny they spent was incredibly worth it. I mean, he was signed by FC Barcelona for a fee of 75 million euros at the time, and right now that's kind of where he's valued. And I guess the reason that they signed him for such a high price is that he's just an amazing he's an amazing athlete. He's 5'11". He's very technically skilled. He can dribble. He can make almost any pass on the field, and I think he's a very underrated defender. I think he's one of the world's best defenders. But because he can pass and shoot and dribble so well, they place him as a midfielder, and I think he's going to be one of the world's best. Out of all the elite young players, I think he's one of the few midfielders I have, especially, I think he's definitely the youngest one. And I think a fair comp for him, if you follow soccer, if you know who Toni Kroos is for Real Madrid, when Toni Kroos was at Bayern, when he first moved to when he was first at Bayern, I think that's where Frenkie de Jong is now. I think he's well on his way to being the world's best midfielder, depending as to like whether or not he will be on FC Barcelona when he is the world's best midfielder. We'll see. We'll leave it up to that. But as of right now, looks like Barcelona really, really loves him, and they really want to keep him. Of course, it's tough for a lot of these soccer players to kind of get situated in a new team, in a whole new organization with new players. Of course, there's a different pace, there's a different atmosphere, and of course, there's the language barrier as well. But I think Frenkie de Jong is I think he's really controlling. I think he's taking full control of the situation. I think he's very comfortable where he's at, and it's showing in his gameplay as he's getting more comfortable every game. And the more he gets comfortable, the more he actually gets time to just to quickly process what's going on around him. I think that now, or like right before quarantine started, was when Frenkie de Jong was starting to hit was starting to hit levels that he hit at Ajax, starting to make key passes, starting to make some really good defensive stops, and with having amazing players around him situated at Barca like Messi, Ousmane Dembele, Luis Suarez, Antoine Griezmann, just like the list really kind of goes on. And because he is situated at a place like Barca, it seems as though there may be situations in which he doesn't get as much playing time as he got at Ajax, which normally comes when a team is so strong from top to bottom, such as FC Barcelona. But I think that they're giving him a good amount of playing time, and he's starting to really get accustomed to the teammates around him. And I think, of course, also playing at FC Barcelona, this is the best crop of teammates that he'll ever really have, like that he'll ever really play around. So it helps fans show how good it brings out the best possible Frenkie de Jong when he's playing with amazing players, because the strength of a the strength of a center midfielder is the strength of his team. Of course, if your team is good, then the center midfielder will help bring that out of your team. One instance of this is Paul Pogba, but I'll get into Paul Pogba when I get into Paul Pogba. But with Barcelona situated around him, you could argue that he has the best all-around cast of teammates around him to help bring out the best in Barca. And at the same way, I think that relationship works both ways, whereas the strength of a team can kind of be you can situate it in their center midfielder. Whereas, I mean, top teams right now, even with when Real Madrid was dominant, they still had Toni Kroos, who is the best center midfielder in the game. And I think that once Frenkie de Jong finds his way on this team, I think FC Barcelona will be very dangerous, especially if Lionel Messi is playing at the way that he's playing. Once Antoine Griezmann returns to the elite level that he was playing with when he was at Atletico Madrid. Of course, you have Suarez, and you got on the defense, you have Gerard Piqué. I mean, just the amount of talent around him will help bring out the best in him, and the best in him will bring out the best of the team. So I like this relationship, and I like FC Barcelona's move to go all out for this kid, because of course he was one of the main reasons that Ajax got so far, and he helped bring out the best in Ajax because he was one of the best young midfielders in the game, and that's what Barcelona is hoping that he's going to do there. So I mean, kind of just going off that, I appreciate you if you actually take the time to listen to this. I wanted to keep this one kind of short, but if you ever get a chance to watch Barcelona or watch the Netherlands, get a chance to watch Frenkie de Jong, if he's in the middle of the field, he will do some things. He's not the best athlete on the field, but I mean, he's one of the more technical players on the field. He has amazing skills. He knows how to do almost anything with his foot. Like, he can get the ball anywhere he really, really wants to, which is what you really want in an elite midfielder. And considering there's no other midfielders around his age, there might be a solid chance that he will be the best midfielder in the world in one day. Maybe even the best player. And kind of just leaving off on that note, I appreciate you, and I love you. Peace.